Hello and welcome all to this whole new world of learning. Teach you a lot of things. Now, your response, it was wonderful. And now, English is based on something which is very solid, which I can term it up as present perfect tense or say tenses. Now, this tense, its name itself suggests perfection. Perfection means what? Perfection means to show something that is exact, that is accurate, or that holds something true, or it talks about something that has happened, that has occurred in some time before. All right. So herein we are talking about past actions, but we are not talking about those actions which have no relation with the present. In the last webinar, we did discuss about tenses. We discussed the simple present tense, present continuous tense. I did introduce you to past tenses also, past tense, simple past tense, past continuous tense, past perfect tense, and past perfect continuous tense, right? So we need these tenses when we move ahead in terms of uh, learning English. Now, learning English seems like a monster to many, but it's not that true. It's an interesting language wherein you can learn through a lot of activities, and that is where Hello English comes into existence. Hello English has a lot of exercises, a lot of activities which can help you learn all these things in a very playful manner. You might not feel that this is something which is we are learning through different mode, but this is something that you learn into a very interesting way. Now, while learning present perfect tense, what are the difficulties that you can face? There are as such no difficulties, but this is the tense that you can use the most. Now, what are the areas that you use? Where do you use this tense? Why do you use this tense? Are simple questions that might come to anybody's head when they are learning something. So let us move ahead with present perfect tense. Now, present perfect tense refers to an action or a state that either occurred at a time, indefinite time, or past, or began in the past and continued in the present time. Now, these are simple actions. See, everything depends on action. These when we deal with present perfect tense or something that says tenses, we do talk about something that is talking about some actions. Obviously, now what are those actions is very important. Now, present perfect tense, if you look at this example, he has grown impatient over last hour. Now, he's grown impatient means he wasn't impatient, but he has grown impatient. Maybe he's not keeping well, or he is stressed, or something like that. So when we talk about such actions, we have to use present perfect tense. Now, there is some formula like the formula to happiness is smiling. So similarly, the formula to present perfect tense is has, have plus past participle. Okay. Now dealing with something else, where what are the areas where do we use present perfect tense? So when we are specific about something that happened. Now I cannot talk something about my last night's dream because it has not happened. I have put away all the dishes. So the action of me lifting the dishes and putting it somewhere is done. That means what? The action is already finished. To talk about duration of something that started in the past and is still happening. So now when we talk about some action which has not come to a break or which has not stopped, we say we are using present perfect tense. So look at the example here. She has had fever since Tuesday. Now for some of you this might sound a bit funny or a bit confusing since we are using two repetitive sounds her. She has had fever since Tuesday. I have had my lunch. So had is something that I'm experiencing and has is something that I am taking in. So she is experiencing. Had is again what is she going through. To describe something that occurred or was the state of things at an unspecified time in the past. I have walked on this road before. So this is a road that I have taken some time back also. So I'm not new to this road. So this is what we do, or these are few instances out of some that are coming for you in the later stages of the same webinar. These are few places wherein we use present perfect tense. Basically, present perfect tense, I'll tell you a small formula of using present perfect tense. We use present perfect tense while we go for interviews, right? You all have attended interviews. You all have cleared your interviews, and that is why you are into such good state. You are into such good companies, right? So when we go for interviews, when we attend interviews, this is the tense that we generally use because they talk about our experiences, right? Next instance, when we are talking about our experience, like I told you, when we are out for an interview, we use present perfect tense. So I have done my graduation. So it's only then that I'm here. It's only then that I can interact with you people. So when we are talking about our experiences, this is the tense that we use. Now there's one clause in this. We often use the adverb ever to talk about experience up to the present. So my last birthday was the worst day I ever had. So that's I'm not talking about the best birthday that I have celebrated, but I'm talking about the last birthday, which was the worst one. It wasn't the best one, but the worst one. Again, now we use never for the negative form. Now, have you ever met Ganesh? Yes, but I've never met his wife. So ever and never, they are again cousins. They are different modes. Ever can be used in the positive form, negative forms. First, it is important at the time of speakers. I've lost my keys. Now we have two actions. One is he is not able to get into the house. The other one is lost keys. Now, if we look at the chronological order also, the second action that comes here is happened before the first action. Now he has lost his key and that is the reason he is not able to enter the house, right? So the losing of the key has happened earlier, but the effect is still now. What is the effect? That he is not able to enter the house. Imagine someone painting. So when we see he has started painting the house, that is past. He is painting the house is present continuous tense, wherein the action is still happening. And when we talk or when we say he has painted, that means the action is finished, but now the house looks nice, the house looks fresh, the house looks new, right? So this is where the instance, these are the instances generally where we use present perfect tense. There are so many other instances also, but you have to make sure that you use have or has, right? So have goes with I have, you have, we have, they have, whereas has goes with she has, he has, it has, Tina has, Tom has. All right. The country has, India has, America has. So when we are talking about the country has a lot of people, but then we are not counting that. We are counting India as one country. All right. So it takes up, this is called subject verb agreement, which we have been doing since the last webinar. We have done some part of subject verb agreement in the last webinar also, and I would be also guiding you through subject verb agreement in this webinar too. So to understand that, has goes with singular subjects, have goes with plural subject, like we have, they have, you have. But Tina has, Tom has, it has, she has, he has, India has, I have. I am singular, but that's another confusion because I'm unique. I will always go with the plural forms, right? I hope you all know Amitabh Bachchan, the Amitabh Bachchan. So he has acted in a lot of movies. He has won a lot of awards. He has given his entire life to the film industry, right? So has, all right, there is some connection with the present. He has acted in supposedly 120 movies, so they are to his credit. So when I'm talking about experience, I am talking about present perfect tense, or rather the mode of me talking would be present perfect tense. To move ahead, the next use of present perfect tense is we use present perfect tense to be when someone has gone to a place and returned, right? Now, have you ever been to France? This is generally a question that people ask if you are off for a vacation or even if you are not in the office. So, have you ever been to the boss's cabin? Have you ever eaten food into this restaurant? These are general statements that we generally use while we are talking. No, but I have been to America. So this person is talking about his experience, right? Now he doesn't say there is one thing you must have noticed here. There is no time frame that is defined over here. So always remember, when we are talking about our experiences, we do not give the time frame. But when we are talking about our past actions, there is an essentiality of we giving the dates or the days or the specificity of the action that took place when, right? But when we are talking about our experiences, experiences are important. That means time doesn't hold any place over here. Not exactly any place, but still we do not give a specific time. Have you ever been to France in summer? Now, it is not very specific because we are not giving the dates here. We are just talking about somebody's experience in summer. So here in summer, though acts as a time, but does not have much relevance to the time. All right. So have you ever been to France? No, but I have been to America. So herein also he is not describing about what are the places that he has been, what are the things that he has seen. Did he shop there? Did he go there and stay for a month, or did he come back just from the airport? He's not describing that. That means he's just telling you an experience that he has been to America. But when someone has not returned, we use has, have, gone, right? Now, been and gone, they are two different ways of using terms or the verbs for the same reference. Now, herein we use gone because the person hasn't yet returned, but been is the person has already returned. So here, look at the example. Where is Nisha? I haven't seen her for weeks. So there's a long time period that I haven't met her. I haven't seen her. She's gone to Delhi for a week. She'll be back tomorrow. So she's gone to Delhi. I didn't say she's been to Delhi. She's been to Delhi means she's come back. All right. So don't get confused between been and gone. And I hope I've cleared up your confusion between these two terms, been and gone. So gone can be only used when the person is not here, but been can be used when the person is already back. Okay. We often use present perfect tense with time adverbials which refer to the past. Now we use words like just, only just, recently, right? So maybe you ask someone that, will you join me for a cup of coffee? You say, no, I've just had. So it's not a lot of time that has passed between me having coffee and you asking me. So I've just had. So where is Reema? She's recently resigned or she's recently joined. So there is a very less time frame. Scientists have recently discovered a new breed of monkey. We just got back from our holidays. So there is not much time that is spent. Or adverbials which include the present, ever in questions, right? So far, until now, up to now, yet, in questions and negative modes. Have you ever seen a ghost? I've never seen a ghost. Question, ever. Never, answer. Where have you been up to now? Up to now, till now, right? Have you finished your homework yet? So, till now, again, the recent times. No, so far I have done I have only done my history. So I have not touched any of the other subjects, but I have done only history. So this is another instance wherein we are using present perfect tense. Moving ahead, there is a warning here. We do not use the present perfect tense with adverbials which refer to past time which is finished. So like I told you, we do not give time frames. So herein, if you look at the sentence, I've seen that film yesterday. No, we cannot use yesterday here. I have just bought a new car last week. Now, last week, there's a time frame that has passed. Last week means they have passed around 7 days. So it cannot be just, right? So you should not use just with time frame words. When we were children, we have been to California now. Now we're not children, right? So we've been to California in our childhood. That's a different story. But we can use it to refer to the time which is not yet finished. Have you seen Helen today? So when I'm talking about Helen or you meeting Helen, I'm talking about today. So the day hasn't yet finished. So in that case, I can use. We have bought a new car this week. So the week has not yet finished. Maybe I bought it on Monday and I can talk this I can talk about my purchase on Thursday or Friday also. So that is correct. Now we'll deal with something called as adverbs of frequency or adverbs of time. That is the biggest ostrich that I have ever seen. Now, that is a very big ostrich that I have ever seen. Have you ever met a famous person? So this action is not yet complete. So we have seen ever, never, and a question mode. I have never been to Italy. So that is another experience that have you been to Italy? Question, have you ever been to Italy? Question mode. Answer, I have never been to Italy. Now, there are few pictures that you can see on your screen. They also talk about adverbs of time. Now, sunrise, sun rises daily. That's a daily affair. Sunday comes weekly. Hourly, 1 hour timer. You can see the timer that shows 1 hour. So you have to take your medicines hourly. So after 1 hour, you have to take your medicines. Yearly. So change your covers yearly. So they're talking about something that needs to be changed yearly. So change your spectacles yearly. Probably you might change up the numbers, right? So some things that happen yearly, some things happen weekly, some things happen hourly, and some things happen yearly. So to describe them or to differentiate them, we use such terms. They are nothing but they are called adverbs of time. What do you mean by adverbs of frequency? Adverbs of frequency describe how often something occurs or is done. Either it would be definite or indefinite. Adverbs that describe definite frequency are weekly, daily, or yearly, and adverbs describing indefinite frequency do not especially talk about exact time frame or examples. Sometimes, often, rarely. So, when do you visit stations? So I visit stations regularly because I do not travel very much, right? So I visit stations yearly. So probably I move out of my house once a year. So my yearly visit. Examples. Now again, examples of adverbs of frequency: always, almost, usually, generally, mostly, often, sometimes, occasionally. So there are so many words that we generally use while talking, but we do not know that they are called adverbs of frequency. Now, once, twice, thrice. There are also some words that come under the same heading, or they also tell us about the time that is happening, right? So they are also called adverbs of frequency. Like, I had lemon juice once a day, or I have lemon juice once a day. Doctor has advised me to go for a walk twice, right? So maybe in the morning and in the evening. So one should have his or her medicines 3 times a day. Maybe that is the dosage that is given by the doctor. So you have to make sure that you have to take your medicine 3 times a day. Then 4 times a day, 3 times a day, 6 times a day, 7 times a day, weekly, monthly, yearly, a decade, ever, 2 months. So these are the frequency in numbers, right? We also saw frequency in words and we also saw frequency in numbers. So weekly, hourly would be adverbs of frequency, whereas once, twice, thrice would be frequency expressing numbers. Now there are some confusing words also. English is sometimes a bit confusing language. So let us look at what confusing words are we looking down towards today in today's webinar. Now accept and accept. They are two different words with different meanings altogether, right? So we generally make mistakes while using accept and accept. Accept is to take something, to agree, to receive something, and accept is not including. Everyone can come except my boss. I accept the resignation, right? So there are so many such words. I have listed few of them, and you can find a big list of such confusing words with Hello English app once you have downloaded that. Let us move down to the next word, adverse. Now, adverse means unfavorable or harmful, the adverse effects of global warming, right? Averse. Averse is strongly disliking or opposed. I averse his presence. So I do not like him. So I averse his presence. Advise and advise. Now there's just a difference of C and S. Now you might ask me why C and why S, or where C and where S, that you have to remember. So when I need an advice, recommendations about what to do, I need something, it will be C. When I give something, it will be S. Yes? So always remember, when you give, use S. When you take, use C. C, S. Affect and effect. To change or make a difference to. So this is the effect of global warming. But the effects of global warming, the results, this would affect to the levels of oxygen. But the reduced levels of oxygen has a very adverse effect, right? Then pole, both are pronounced in a similar way. But a pole is a slender piece of wood, whereas pole is voting in an election. So we generally go and vote in a poll. Pour. Pour is to flow or to cause to flow. So pour the water in my glass. Pour a tiny opening, right? Our skin has pores. So there are small openings in our skin. So they are called pores. Practice and practice. Like we saw advise and advice, this is practice and practice. Now the use of an idea or a method, the work or business of a doctor or a dentist. How is your practice these days? That means how is your work going on? But practice regularly is SE. Again, C and C, right? Principle and principle. There are so many jokes that I have experienced when I have dealt with such words, that principle and the principle. Now, principle, PAL. PAL also means a friend. So always remember, PAL comes with the head of the school, because we get friends in the school. But PLE deals with a rule or some belief. Stationary and stationary. Again, there is just a difference of one single letter. One has A, the other has E. So stationary, not moving, A, letter A, the first letter of our alphabet says not moving. It's not moving, it's the first letter. Stationary, the writing material, we have E, WRITE. So stationary also has E. Thank you for being my patient listeners, and thank you for your overwhelming response that you give every time when you attend our webinars. This is Pratishtha, and I would like to take leave today, and hope you enjoyed my webinar. Would be waiting for your feedback and your queries. Hello, and welcome all to this whole new world of learning. Why whole new world? Since we are not meeting each other, but then yes, we can see each other, we can hear each other, and we are learning through each other. I'm learning a lot of things from you people, and I'm trying to teach you a lot of things. Now, your response, it was wonderful, and that has made us give you another set of a webinar wherein you would be learning more new things. So hope you're enjoying with us. Welcome. I am Pratishtha, and I welcome you from the entire team of Hello English. You are free to ask me any queries if you want as we proceed. English is not our native language. We have already discussed this in the last webinar, right? Now, English is based on something which is very solid, which I can term it up as present perfect tense, or say tenses. Now, this tense, its name itself suggests perfection. Perfection means what? Perfection means to show something that is exact, that is accurate, or that holds something true, or it talks about something that has happened, that has occurred in some time before, all right? So herein we are talking about past actions, but we are not talking about those actions which have no relation with the present. In the last webinar, we did discuss about tenses. We discussed the simple present tense, present continuous tense. I did introduce you to past tenses also, past tense, simple past tense, past continuous tense, past perfect tense, and past perfect continuous tense, right? So we need these tenses when we move ahead in terms of learning English. Now, learning English seems like a monster to many, but it's not that true. it's an interesting language wherein you can learn through a lot of activities, and that is where Hello English comes into existence. Hello English has a lot of exercises, a lot of activities which can help you learn all these things in a very playful manner. You might not feel that this is something which is we are learning through different mode, but this is something that you learn into a very interesting way. Now, while learning present perfect tense, what are the difficulties that you can face? There are as such no difficulties, but this is the tense that you can use the most. Now, what are the areas that you use? Where do you use this tense? Why do you use this tense? Are simple questions that might come to anybody's head when they are learning something. So let us move ahead with present perfect tense. Now, present perfect tense refers to an action or a state that either occurred at a time, indefinite time, or past, or began in the past and continued in the present time. Now, these are simple actions. See, everything depends on action. These when we deal with present perfect tense or something that says tenses, we do talk about something that is talking about some actions. Obviously, now what are those actions is very important. Now, present perfect tense, if you look at this example, he has grown impatient over last hour. Now, he's grown impatient means he wasn't impatient, but he has grown impatient. Maybe he's not keeping well, or he is stressed, or something like that. So when we talk about such actions, we have to use present perfect tense. Now, there is some formula like the formula to happiness is smiling. So similarly, the formula to present perfect tense is has, have plus past participle. Okay. Now, dealing with something else, what are the areas where do we use present perfect tense? So when we are specific about something that happened. Now, I cannot talk something about my last night's dream because it has not happened. I have put away all the dishes. So the action of me lifting the dishes and putting it somewhere is done. That means what? The action is already finished. To talk about duration of something that started in the past and is still happening. So now when we talk about some action which has not come to a break or which has not stopped, we say we are using present perfect tense. So look at the example here. She has had fever since Tuesday. Now for some of you this might sound a bit funny or a bit confusing since we are using two repetitive sounds here. She has had fever since Tuesday. I have had my lunch. So had is something that I'm experiencing